her 7th and Farrell at the high school. We will have hot dogs, we have grandkids, you want to bring your grandkids with, we'll have bouncy house, we'll have face paint, we have a magician coming, a bunch of businesses are going to be there, and we're going to have a truck show, or a touch truck.
Touch a truck.
Ooh-wee. It is all free. Every dinner is free. So officers will be cooking hot dogs. So watch them sweat as they cook their hot dogs. I think that's it. So why don't we go ahead and get started with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm going to turn this over to Peter Arizzi. Like I said, he's the commander of investigations. He's been with Lockport Police Department for 18 years. Woo! Longer than some of you guys are alive. He is very, very knowledgeable, and he's going to talk to you today about avoiding scams. All you got.
Good morning. I'm going to wander around. Is that okay? Can you guys hear me okay? Alright. I'm super loud anyway, so let me know if this works out. It's weird to hear yourself while you're talking on this thing. Okay, so good morning everybody. I am Arizzi. I am the investigations commander, and I'm in charge of several other specialties. Today we're going to talk about scams in general. Not just, I think sometimes people call them elderly scams. They're scams to everybody. It doesn't really matter who the group of people is. I think why they're targeted more towards what is termed elderly is because a certain group of people that are retired are home to answer the phone or have time to reply to an email, and that's why they become a victim of the scam a little bit more regularly. Kevin Brock, on the other hand, who has a bunch of children and is never home, is not going to be scammed because he doesn't have time. That's really the only difference. So let's talk about some of the scams that we've dealt with often at the police department. Let me know if this gets weird with the microphone, okay?
We're turning that.
Okay, cool. Is that better? Yeah, better. Okay, so first of all, the IRS scam. It's happening a lot. We get it often. That seems better, right? Is that better? Yeah, okay. That was weird. Okay, so the IRS scam is probably the most common of scams that we deal with. That was just cracking.
Bring it down a little bit.
How's this? Better? Alright, I never talk on a microphone. There's a reason, probably, right? Okay, so the IRS scam is probably the number one scam that we've been dealing with most often. Basically what happens is an individual calls you, says that you owe money to the IRS, that they've been trying to reach you, and they're coming and they're getting a warrant, they're going to secure a warrant, they're coming to get you. They then require you to give them all kinds of personal information that the IRS would already know, right? Because there's two things we all know about living in our country, in my opinion, the greatest country, but you're paying your taxes. They're going to fine you if you don't pay your taxes, right? They don't get Al Capone on murder, but they got him on tax evasion because you pay your taxes in this country, you're going to jail. So they know this, the IRS knows this, and the scammers know it. The IRS is never going to call you and say you owe them money. They're never going to threaten you. Actually, none of that's how it works. They're going to send you about 4 million letters, and they're going to bombard you with dumb things, and you're going to have to call them. They're never going to call you. So if the IRS calls you at all, you have a problem right out of the gate. It's definitely a scam. Then what they're going to try to do is convince you, and they're pretty good at this. They're criminals. They're pretty good at this. They're going to convince you that you owe them money or they're coming to get you. Like the warrants are already in place and they're on their way to get you, and they're going to instill fear. They're going to scare you into believing that you have to do something. Then they're going to want you to pay money immediately. Not with a credit card, not with a check, the way that normal people would pay a bill. They want you to go get large amounts of cash. They want you to give them access to your bank account, or they want you to go to the local Walmart or Target or CVS and buy gift cards. because you can transfer large sums of money on gift cards without anybody tracing it out. They'll remain on the phone with you, they'll tell you not to hang up. If any of that stuff happens, that's a scam immediately. You just hang up. You don't even have to report it to the police if you haven't given any information. You just take your phone and hang up and put it down. That's it. That's all you have to do. There's nothing else to it. They have no information, no matter how convincing they were. They have nothing about you. I can tell you. I can assure you of this. What does happen, and we had this not long ago, we had a gentleman from San Diego in his mid-80s, lived alone, his wife had passed, his children were spread out throughout the country. He fell for this scam. He was fairly affluent. So the scammers had convinced him to take out large sums of cash, $50,000 in cash, put it into a bag, into a box, put books inside the box, and then seal it up and send it to UPS, to the UPS store in Lockport, by the Jewel, if you know what that is, to a individual who was, it was a fake name, but a individual showed up to pick up this box of books. We were waiting there because UPS had triggered this as a weird box for there's some reasons, but one of them was it didn't make sense what was in the box versus the weight and some other things. And the way it was labeled and all this kind of stuff, and it was sent to a P.O. box at that UPS store, but there was no P.O. box for that person. So there was a lot of things. So UPS did a good job. They caught it, they called us. We went over there, we seized the package, and we just waited for the guy to show up. And we got the guy when he showed up. We arrested him, it was great. Problem is, that guy's not the bad guy, that's just some guy that they got to come and pick up the package, right? I mean, he did bad things, but he didn't even know how, he just dumb. So we got him, the dumb one goes to jail. We couldn't get to the real criminal, but what was really kind of challenging was, I called this gentleman from San Diego, one of the scams, let's just say. He was in California. And I had a conversation with him, and he kept hanging up on me. I just wanted to give him back his money. And he kept hanging up on me, and he said, no, I have to call them back. They told me that you guys would try to do this, and that you were going to try to get me in trouble. I have to call them back. I have to call them back. I had to call the police department in actually Sacramento. I knew it. Sacramento. Yay! Sacramento. It was Sacramento. The reason I remember it was Sacramento was because Sacramento is a fairly big city, right? It's capital California. And so I had to call, and they have filed private. I had to call and get an officer to go to the house to check the mental state of this gentleman and explain to him in person that we had his money and we were trying to give him back his money, but he needed to trust us. Now I have to convince the police in Sacramento that I'm the police, and that I'm not scamming them out of anything. There's like 7 levels of scam to get this guy money back. We got some services involved. He was having some mental issues, and that was part of what was playing for this gentleman. But for all practical purposes, these scams like this, they just kind of touch the person. So to give you a rough idea, there was a retired federal agent who lives in our town who fell for one of these scams. Now you would think somebody who's in federal law enforcement would know. Somebody who's, again, all of the things you would think would trigger, but sometimes you just kind of have that bit of fear when someone's talking to you and you start to go down the path. So, if you find that you got a phone call or an email and it's alarming to you but you don't know whether it's a problem or not and it seems threatening, just stop what you're doing immediately because no one should ever threaten you regardless of how much money you owe them. Stop, get a phone number and say you'll call them back. If they won't allow you to call them back, they're not real because every company allows you to call them back, right? We all know that that's not going to be the case. If they won't, they're continuously calling you, continuously harassing you, call the police. Call the police and say you see an officer will come visit you, and we'll walk you through and make sure there's no problem. The other thing that happens with these scams is there are certain people that are down on their luck or having some financial problems. Somebody calls them and they've got a lottery scam, or they have a check cashing scam, where it sounds like that this person can make you some money. Like, hey, I'm going to send you this, you have to send some money to this person. It happens a lot. It happens to good people, again, who are just thinking that they're going to come across them. Or a If somebody calls you and says you want a Cadillac, the first question you should think is, did I put it in to win a Cadillac? Because if you didn't win a Cadillac. Because they don't just hand them out. Trust me, I've been waiting for a long time to get my Cadillac. No one's giving me my Cadillac. So you're going to want to think about those things and go, okay, that's it. Find a phone number. If somebody legitimately was going to give you a Cadillac, they're going to be cool with you calling them back, right? They're still going to want to give it to you. It's not an immediate thing. So, high pressure, you want to be aware. If somebody's applying pressure to you to do something immediately, it's automatically a scam. Guaranteed. Absolutely a scam every time. Just like in any business deal you've had over your lifetime, right? From day one to today, somewhere along the line, you've gone and bought carpet or windows or an appliance, and a salesperson has been super pushy. That's not something you want to deal with in a legitimate business deal. You don't want to deal with a scammer who's doing the same thing, right? Does that make sense to everybody? Everybody good with all those kind of scams? Okay. If you are the victim of a scam, you go down this path. You forget we had this conversation, and you get the phone call, and you did it, and you're like, oh my God, I just did it. Okay, it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Report it immediately. Write down all the information that you have. Don't make any additional contact with that person. Just notify the police department. In some cases, we're able to get some of the money back, if not all the money. It depends. What happens is if you use your credit card and you purchase iTunes cards or some kind of gift card for a scam, your credit card company isn't going to look at that as fraud. Because it's not. You legitimately did it. You were frauded, that's correct. But you didn't get frauded with your credit card. It's your credit card, you spent it. Does that make sense? So your credit card company is very little help on this. Once in a while, you can get them to do a little something, but very rarely. Once those gift cards are purchased and the number on the gift card is given to the bad guy, they're gone. There's absolutely no getting them back. They're gone. So there really is not much that can be done in those situations. Now, what we've been doing is working with the retailers. When you go to Walmart, if you go up to the counter at Walmart and you're buying $1,000 gift cards, they should be asking you questions. Nobody at Walmart should go, I don't know, why wouldn't we need $5,000 in iTunes gift cards? You look like you buy a lot of music. You know what I mean? That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't, right? That should never happen. So those people should be stopping you. Now, CVS and Walgreens, when you buy gift cards there, if you run a gift card there should be something that pops up on their little credit card screen that says that, like kind of warning about scams. The problem is we found that the clerks are just pressing the button for you to get through it fast, so you're not even reading it. So the retailer's playing a part in this because they're not all that concerned that you're getting scammed because they're getting their money. They don't care, it's not their problem, you should have known better, right? So, they're not looking out for your better interest. So take the time to slow down and go, who am I buying a gift card for? You should never be buying a gift card for anybody that you don't know anyway, right? I mean, we only give gift cards as gifts to children that we don't know to buy them because no one knows to buy children, right? So you just buy the gift card and tell them good luck from grandma and grandpa or whatever, and enjoy, because I don't know what you're talking about when you want some weird shirt. So, that's what I tell my kids all the time. I'm just going to give you a gift card. I don't know what you're talking about. Actually, not. So, those things are what's important. Now, there's other types of financial scams that I want you to be aware of. They're not as much scams as they are true ID thefts and true frauds. Those situations you need to report immediately. So, what I'm talking about there are, you check your credit card statement and you see there's things on your credit card statement and you don't know what it is. Immediately report that to the credit card company. Immediately. They're going to send it to fraud. Even if it turns out that it's not a fraud, who cares? The credit card company works for you. They'll just discard it later. It's not a big deal. So like in my house, I've got a wife who's a teacher and I've got 2 teenage daughters. So my credit card is constantly being used, by the way. So my daughters play sports. A lot of times my wife registers them for something, a tournament or whatever, and then it doesn't give you much information on the credit card. It just is like, so-and-so company, and it's like, from Irvine, California, or whatever. I didn't buy anything. I was freaking out. Someone spent $500 on my credit card. Turns out it was my wife, and it's fine, it's not a big deal. But on at least one occasion, I thought I was being scammed. I immediately contacted Discover, and 2 days later I called back and said, listen, I'm super embarrassed, I wasn't being scammed, I just didn't ask my wife before I called, and I should have. They didn't care at all, they said they were happy to do it, better to prevent the scam before it happens, better to prevent it. Now, if you find you get your credit card statement, there's several things on it, you didn't purchase, whatever, you know it's fraud. Immediately contact your credit card company, immediately contact the police department. Have your credit card information, the police department's going to ask for a series of things. They're going to ask for your credit card information, they're going to want to know account numbers, who's on the account, what's fraud, what's not, so you're going to need a statement. Right, bring a statement in, or we'll print money for you, whatever needs to happen, we'll make copies, all that kind of stuff. But we need a statement because we need to know what is real and what isn't, right? Because it can be mixed. Because maybe you can lose your credit card if someone scammed your credit card number, right? Those types of things. So make sure you have all of that information so you're not having to go back and forth, and then we can start out. What we'll do as a police department here in Lockport, we'll immediately contact credit card companies, but we're also going to try to get, we'll go before our grand jury, we will get subpoenas for your credit card information, and then we'll get subpoenas for information from the credit card company onto the next person and the next person. Sometimes we're able to get somewhere with it. We work with the federal government all the time, we work with the FBI and the Secret Service. Secret Service does a lot with credit cards and banking. We work with them often. To tell you a couple of success stories recently, someone was scammed out of $63,000. We were able to get them $63,000 back before it left the country. Because you can't just usually transfer money directly out of the United States. It has to go to another bank and then it gets transferred. We'll get it in the transfer. Everything takes several days, we'll get it in those days. So the quicker you report something, the better off. We're not lucky every time, but we're going to try to be lucky as often as possible. So reporting it is super important, right? The quicker it happens. If you didn't lose your credit card, and you didn't give your credit card number to anybody, but you're seeing transactions on there, somebody has definitely sold your credit card information. There's no way around it, which means that they have actually sold other information. So what you're going to want to do is contact the credit bureaus. This is something that you have to do. You contact the credit bureaus, and you say what happened, and then they'll start putting freezes on your credit, because things are going to start hitting your credit. So, years ago, 20, 30 years ago, every street criminal was out to just do street crimes, okay? They robbed, they sold drugs, they did street crime, right? Street crime now is digital crime. A lot of the people that are doing these crimes are people that you would not have thought were doing these crimes. These are gang members, these are street thugs, because your information, not your information, but people's information is so readily available on the black market now that they find it to be much more profitable to do this than to sell drugs. You go to jail for selling drugs, this is hardly proof, right? So this is the new crime. This is the new crime wave. It is billions of dollars in crime. Okay, billions of dollars. Cybercrime is the #1 crime. It's astronomical, right? They're scamming companies, they're scamming people, it's governments, they're doing ransom. If you're not doing ransomware, when they take over the company's computer system, shut them down, and then you have to pay them tens of thousands of dollars, if not more, to get it back into their computer system. And a lot of companies will pay it and keep it quiet so that you, the consumer, don't know that the company that you trusted, Farmers Insurance, or whoever it is, has had a data breach, right? So those are the things you need to think about. If you have any problems at all, your credit, anything that you haven't seen before, you need to report it right away, immediately. If you're not sure, come to the police department, ask for an officer, or call for an officer, they will help you. If you get to the Lockport Police Department and you get an officer and they say, this is nice, I have someone who do this for me. I know, I should sit, right?
Would you like something?
Debbie never brings me coffee, just because. That's not true, she does. And she does.
Would you like coffee?
No, I'm good, I just like asking this. So, where was I? Maybe I was saying something the coffee distracted me.
You were talking.
I'm talking about cybercrime, yes, cybercrime. So, as much as we're talking about scams, every scam turns into a cybercrime, really. That's what it is. Anytime you use a computer or any kind of electronic device, it becomes a cybercrime. and that's what we're talking about. So there's so many different versions of this that every single time something happens, a criminal creates a new crime for it, right? If they would use their powers for good instead of evil, we'd solve all the world's problems, but they're just too lazy. So we have to deal with that. Now, what's here in the scam today is going to be something different tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. So the most important thing to remember when we're talking about these things is, if it seems too good to be true, it absolutely, it's just not, right? It's not. The second thing is, at any time, you can stop, right? We're Americans, that's the best thing about it, we can do what we want. Just stop talking to people. Just go, all right, I'll call you back. If they're like, no, you can't call me back, I will do whatever I want, I heard it. Hang up. Report anything that you want. If when you're at the police department, or you're an officer, and you're like, that doesn't seem right, like John seemed to think that we could maybe do something, you call the police department and you ask for me. You'll get me. I'm there Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, almost every day of my life. Ask for me. I will answer your call. Remember that I don't remember things, so say, hey, Triad meeting, you sit up there, you talk about a bunch of stuff. I have a question. I will talk to you later on. I'm there. Come and see me. Whatever it is, set an appointment. I'll take the time to talk to you. Talk to Debbie, talk to Andy. We're here. We get paid to help you. That's our job. That's our number one job. You ask the question, we'll help you. Sometimes what seems like a scam in the end might be legit. It's just the way in which it got to be written. We'll help you through that path and find out why you're being contacted by somebody, right? The last one I want to talk about really quick pops up every so often and then it goes away for a while. This one is directed at grandparents in particular. Especially grandparents who do not talk to their grandchildren as much as perhaps they would like to, right? You get a phone call, the victim gets a phone call from a frantic person who says, hey, your grandson or granddaughter, they name them, has been arrested. They need bail money immediately, or they're going to prison. Many grandparents will offer up money almost right away because of the fear of what's happening. Now, remember, these scammers are good. They can get on the internet in a matter of minutes, find out who you are, who you're related to, and find out who your children are, grandchildren are, whatever. And they're looking for ones that they know are away at school, and then they're going to play the scam. And a lot of people fall for it because they just, hey, that you knew Kevin is my grandson, and you knew he went to Penn State, and maybe Kevin's been in a little bit of trouble before, who knows? And you want to help him out immediately. And it's not that weird for people to avoid their parents and call their grandparents. God knows I used to get out of trouble. So stop that one and think about it for a second. It's almost always a scam, right? It doesn't, the criminals are doing two things. They know that you're going to probably be available, and they know that you're probably going to want to help your grandchildren. So remember those two things. And remember that your grandchildren probably should tell you more. That's what I tell my children. But that, anytime you think something's a scam, even if you're not 100% sure, I highly recommend calling the police department. Call, ask for an officer, ask for him, he'll come help you. He's there 8 to 4 Monday through Friday. Ask us, we're here. I tell you, you're never going to be a problem. Ever. We love talking to the public. Actually, I get calls from people at the police department who just scream at me and I put it on speaker because I have other stuff to do while they scream. If you call me, you're not going to scream at me, so I prefer that, right? I'd rather you talk. Also, if we can help you, we'd love to help you. And the more information that we get, the better we can help other people, right? Does that make sense? Okay, questions. I talked kind of fast and I'm almost sorry. Nobody has any questions? I'm that good. Go ahead, yes.
It came up on my messages. It came up on my messages. And it was a friend, and it came from Instagram. So I open it, and it's, hi, how are you? They're saying, just like it was my friend. And I'm like, when did you start using Instagram? And, then there's telling me, oh, my phone hasn't been working, and so, Okay, so the moral of the story is at the bottom they're telling me they can get me $90,000, because they got it. It's wonderful, and they give me this lawyer's name. that I was supposed to call. Well, I didn't, and I sent it on the internet to the blocker. You know. And I did call my friend and tell her. Well, I asked her before I even blocked it. I was like, what's going on? You know, did you send me this? And she's like, no, I never did Instagram in my life.
So that's a great story.
They had her picture and her name, but it wasn't the name that she like uses to get email and stuff.
So that's a great story, and that's exactly what we're talking about. These scammers know how to manipulate the internet, they know how to manipulate you, and they're going to try to do it through a friend, because you're always willing to look for a friend. And remember, this happens to all of us, you know, as all of us get older, you lose track of people, or you don't talk to people as often as you used to, right, regardless. So, she did a great job. She did everything that you would hope that you will do, right? That you tell people to do. A, you look at something and say, that person's not on Instagram, so that's wrong. B, that's not the name that person usually uses. And C, this is a scam, I can tell already. But what did she do? She immediately called the person and did the blocker. That's all you have to do. Perfect. She did everything that you would hope to do. She's exactly what we're talking about doing. You get something weird, you look at it and go, that's not right. You'll have that feeling. We're humans. Humans have a feeling when something's wrong, right? They have a feeling and go, that's not right. You know what I mean? That's not right at all. So that's a great story and a great version of what we're exactly talking about. If it seems weird, it's weird, right? And remember, here's the thing. Social media, right, it's blowing up, you know, everybody's doing it. My kids are always doing something, I have no idea what they're even doing. I'm constantly, give me your phone, give me your phone, give me your phone. But everything's moving so fast that sometimes we look at it and go, I don't even really know what this is. If you don't know what it is, who cares if it's a scam or not? Just walk away from it. It's not right. We all know this. If you know, nobody gives you anything, right? We talked about that. You're not going to get free money on the internet. None of that stuff's going to happen. You can really find a coupon when you actually need one, right? I mean, it's like a nightmare nowadays. So, just remember those things. If it seems wrong, do exactly what our friend did and go, nope, and I'll call my friend and go, hey, you're not on Instagram with someone portraying to be on Instagram, because she probably should be reporting that too to Instagram as an issue. The thing about that really quick is, with these social media companies in particular, they don't have a phone number that you can call, right? Like, I like to call somebody and yell and complain when I'm mad. Like, give me the phone, I'll call Comcast because they get yelled at like once a week. You can't call, well, Instagram, Facebook. You can't call Facebook. They don't have a number. Even we can't call them. We're the police, we can't call them. Amazon is worse. You can't call Amazon and save your life. They're terrible. We had to literally threaten a lawsuit against them. Actually, we threatened to go to the media that they would help us on major crime. And then we got calls from their attorneys on the West Coast. They won't help you. It's just the way that these companies are designed now. Everything is so digital, they're insulating themselves. You know, they don't want to talk to you. They want you just to go through their portal. Report it via email, whatever. Well, when a crime's happening, email's not going to be all that fast, right? So let us know there's some things that we can do. There's law enforcement portals that all these companies have that we can do things much quicker. We submit our subpoenas through the law enforcement portal. We submit our warrants to the law enforcement portal. We have at least a little bit more contact with them than you do. So if you have something, let us know. Any other questions? Yeah, question. Good.
Like, let's say Amazon sends you an email and says that your account has been locked.
Oh yeah, they've been with that.
How do we know that that's actually Amazon? You have no way to call them, no way to find out. And, you know, are they fishing for, like, send us another credit card number?
Yeah.
To take place the old one or what?
Yeah, great question. And that's a good one. And have you brought it up, because it happens all the time. That, first of all, because what they will do is send you a message when it is. Like when they do lock it, right? So like, what's the scam and what is it? So I've had the Amazon one, I've had exactly what this gentleman is talking about. When that happens, there's two things that I did. First thing I did was check that email address that it was sent from. The email address was sent from, you just click on the email address, it'll pop up, you can see what it is. It was not even close to an Amazon email address. It was like a 123 dot something, it was not an email address. That was one. Two, I sit out of my email, closed out all that. I went on my phone where I have Amazon, and I opened up my Amazon. I had no problem navigating my Amazon at all. I had no issue at all. I had no problem. So I didn't go any further. However, when you have something and you're still not sure, Amazon on the Amazon webpage, when you log in, will give you the option under like your own personal stuff to report an issue. Report that email to them. You know, again, you have the right to do that. Go, I'm going to report this, and this is taking time. I received this email from this email address. Is there an issue with my account, or is this, you know, a fraudster? And then wait for their reply back. But if you can get on your Amazon account and you can do stuff on your Amazon account, you're good to go. I'll tell you very quickly before we take a question. Because of law enforcement reasons, I have several Facebook accounts. And one of them I had since I worked undercover many years ago. And I've had it in place and I use it, you know, for a lot of different things. But about 5 months ago, right? About 5 months ago, I couldn't get into it anymore. And it had changed to an Asian woman, with an Asian woman's name. Most of the writing was foreign language. I believe it was Thai. I don't remember. I kept calling, I couldn't call, I kept reporting it to Facebook that someone stole my fake account. Someone stole my fake account on Facebook and I want it back. Which was very challenging because now I am complaining to Facebook that my fake account, which I'm not allowed to have, with Facebook is there. So I had to kind of manipulate it a little bit, but the only thing that saved me was I had a covert driver's license when I worked undercover that had my Illinois driver's license. You get it when you work undercover, it has your fake name on it and stuff. I still had it in a shadow box for like with my like old badge and stuff. So I took a picture of that in the shadow box and sent it to Facebook and they gave me my account. There's a lot of challenges to working through these things. And so once I got in, I'm like, what is this person doing with my account? And I found out this person was online dating and scamming people in the United States. Because I'm sure it was not actually a good-looking woman, but the pictures were. I was a good-looking Asian woman for a time. And she or he or whoever was immediately started online dating. They weren't reaching out to anybody that I was friends with. They weren't posting anything. They were just online dating, trying to get money. That's all they were doing. So I showed them up, and here's the funny thing. Even after I proved to Facebook that person wasn't me and someone had taken my account and they gave it back, then I tried to change the name back, and Facebook said, no, you've changed your name once in the last 6 months, you can't do it again for another 6 months. So even though they scammed me and changed the name, I couldn't change it back to the name I had. So it's actually still like the Asian ladies and the other yeah, so sometimes you gotta keep manipulating the system. Great question, great question. Somebody else had a question. Hold on, I'm coming.
A couple years ago when I was in Chicago, and apparently my credit card number got red, and I didn't know anything happened, but Chase, the credit card company, contacted me asking if I bought $800 worth of bus tickets.
Oh, wow.
And I said no, so they immediately stopped doing this. Yes. But I never told anybody because Chase took care of it. Should I have?
So that's a good question. Great. I'm trying to find a good spot for this. That's a great question. If you are notified by your credit card company, you don't have to report it. They take care of it. Now, what I would be concerned about is, in this case, probably, and I had something similar happen to me. Someone stole my credit card number, they bought a bunch of airline tickets and then Disney tickets. If someone's going to Disney on my money, but I'm not going to Disney on my money. So they just understand this credit card, they're really good. They contacted me. They were great. They got rid of it immediately. They knew it was fraud, and they sent me new cards. I actually never reported it. What I did do was monitor my card, right? I checked everything every day. I'm kind of crazy about it anyway. I checked it every day to make sure that no one had charged anything else, no one had opened any accounts, no one had done any of those things. Because one thing you have to be really wary of, credit cards are one thing. Usually, credit card company will help you fight it. That's something in the world. What we are seeing is, because these, as I said, a lot of our street-level criminals, they're looking for street-level gratification of their crime. So they're going to a kind of seedy car dealer, car lot, and they're buying cars in your name. And that one is tough. Because they don't, the car dealer is not super helpful And going back, when we show up and go, hey, we need video of this transaction, we need paperwork, they're like, nah, we don't have that. You know, we're a shady car lot, basically, we're not going to do. So we got to get subpoenas, we got to get warrants, we got to get all this different stuff. And then ultimately we end up with some really bad copy of a driver's license that clearly you can tell is not the person, and they just like basically puts a whiteout on a driver's license. These people didn't care because the credit card was clear. You know what I mean? So now you have a car in your name, and you're supposed to be making payments on that somebody used your information to make a deposit on, right? And technically you own the car until we prove you don't. So it's good to keep checking your credit. Someone runs your credit, you don't know who it is, that's a problem. Call them. Find out why they're running your credit. And again, if you feel like your identity has been stolen at the time, contact us. And we have a whole package you can fill out. Stuff like that. Go ahead.
If you do that, you're on the list for our account. They can't get like for the credit unions. I mean, for the, what is it? What are they?
The credit bureaus?
Yeah.
Like if you put the credit watch on there?
Yeah, you're on it forever.
Yes.
There was a time.
No, now you're on it. Yeah, that's,
So you can never go to get me a copy.
that's right. So she's got another point. Once you go on the credit watch, the credit bureaus, they're usually have to have been scammed in it or involved in a major data breach. Once you're on it pretty much forever. It used to go like 6 months or a year, and then you drop off, there's nothing. Now it's crazy. Like, everything's so bad. The other thing that's been happening is our checks. It's been happening to a lot of companies, but some of the people. Mail theft has been big again, where people are stealing mail, they're breaking the mailboxes open, stealing mail, washing checks. And so you send a check to, Tiffany in Arizona for his birthday, and the check never gets there, and then it gets cashed in some cash checking place in Joliet or something. We were chasing those for a lot of companies, a lot of companies tend to do a lot of people. So, we live in a world where criminals like to commit crimes, we said to be cautious. So, watch yourself, because there are some people, and it happens, there's people that travel and they're very busy, and they don't really notice that thousands of dollars are missing out of their account because of their spending habits. And then they show up and it's been 6-7 months, and they're like, we had a girl, a very nice lady, her husband applied for some student loans. He had an additional loan. It was on a credit card. I don't know why you would do this, but they did. It was $30,000 he had on the credit card, but he hadn't started taking that semester classes, so it was just sitting. Someone sold the number and sold $30,000 in college money from a credit card. They're on the hook for the whole thing, So, and part of it, I went around, they were just going to ATMs in CVS and Walgreens, weirdly enough. CVS and Walgreens, because those little ATMs that you see, they don't have cameras in them. That's why other people use them. They have like a little mirror thing, that's it, not a camera. So people commit crimes with them because they know they're going to be in video. So they use those a lot. And there was just hundreds of transactions, and they never checked the account. I honestly had no idea. It could have been caught, months ahead of time. So monitor yourself. It takes a few minutes to do when you're watching TV, reading a book, sit in the yard, whatever we're doing. Yes, go ahead. Let me come over there so people can hear. Yes, ma'am.
I thought I was a victim of the check washing scam.
Oh, yeah.
I sent my great nephew a check for his graduation, and the check was never cashed. For like 3 weeks, it's never been cashed. So I called my niece and mom. I said, did Austin get my check? Or did somebody else have it? She said, no, he's got it. But he's not allowed to cash any checks until he sends out thank you notes.
That's good.
But no, what I really wanted to say was March last year, I got a letter from the unemployment compensation.
That's a good one.
Yes.
Yeah.
That my application has been denied. And I called them, I said, I'm 74 years old, I haven't worked in 7 years.
Yeah.
She says it's been stolen.
Yeah.
So she had me call all her credit, and I froze the credit.
So that one's, the unemployment scale was huge. We were getting, maybe 15, 20 people a day coming in. The Illinois Unemployment Office, whatever it is, they actually changed the procedure where we were just sending directly to them because we were just taking so many reports for exactly the same thing, and they seem to have solved it. But you bring up another really important fact. Remember that children are dumb and they don't know what checks are. Mine don't. So the other day I found out that my daughter had 3 checks for her graduation. I go, what are you doing? She said, what are you talking about? I go, you have to cash those checks. She goes, what are you talking about? You know nothing about checks, clearly. We don't have to talk about money. You're an idiot. Because everything they can send money with their phones, with Zelle, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. Children. Okay, so any other questions? One more here in the back, and then I think we're getting kind of right?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, I can talk forever. I like questions.
Yeah.
Hi, I just had a really weird thing happen about a year ago, and because of COVID, I work from home now. So some young man came to the door, didn't knock, put something down on my porch and left. I went and looked, and it was a note saying, UPS, just drop the package, don't knock on the door.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, okay, it was signed by my ex-husband's signature, supposedly, who hasn't lived there in a long time. So as soon as the UPS guy drove up, I grabbed the package. And it was an iPhone through Sprint, brand new iPhone.
Who called us, right?
I called Naperville.
Oh,
I live
okay.
in
We had
Naperville.
this recently. Somebody.
It was the weirdest
Yeah.
thing. And then Sprint just wanted me to just drop it back off to them. I'm like, can't do that. Now Sprint's owned by
Yeah.
somebody else. But what do I do with that phone?
That's a good question. So, this is a great one to end on, actually. So we had this happen not long ago with the same kind of thing where, because people were doing this, right? They commit crimes and then, again, they're some more street level criminals, as we said. So it's not that it's going to go to Argentina or something. They need a place to get their ill-gotten goods, right? So they need to do it. They're not going to access their house, so they do it to other people's houses. The whole city, you're not most smart home during the day. So they're going to put it there and try that. Now, you were able to stop that crime from happening, which is great. But then, this is the best part, the company that got frauded, they don't really care because they didn't actually get frauded, somebody else did, right? They're victims of fraud because they definitely sold somebody's money and identity to buy that phone. So they don't care if you ever return it. And it's like, now you have this phone. So really the best thing to do is go to a Sprint store and just drop it off and go, hey, this guy dropped it at my house, it's not mine, knock yourself out. And I'll tell you that when I know this one, there was a person who was kind of committing a crime here in town, CM. I think we had 20 brand new Apple, computers were they were MacBooks or something. They were like $5,000 computers, we had them. I could not get Apple to take them back. We're done with the case, we charge some people, they were sent to take your computers back. They go, we don't help, they want to help law enforcement, we don't help law enforcement. I'm like, I'm giving you your computers back. I don't want anything from you. And then finally I said, oh, we don't have to do anything. No, we just want you to have your stuff back. Okay, you can ship them here. We'll take them. Here's our shipping information for free. So even they didn't want to help us. We're trying to get this stuff back. All right, Debbie's got some handouts. I'm going to turn it over to her. Thank you all very much. Very much appreciated.